249 AD, a lethal pandemic hits the world. 251 AD, another pandemic hits the Roman Empire. 14th century, the Black Death haunts Europe and wipes out about half of the population of Earth. 1850, London, that's in England, is struck with another plague. 2020, COVID-19. And let me tell you, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing of the pandemic. And everywhere I go, I'm forced to say words that I never thought I would say. Quarantine, vaccines, and honestly, how dare we cough at any point during the year, because automatically everybody's eyes are like. You see, COVID has caused pain for a lot of us, though, for you and for me. It not only has personally affected me, but also my friends that are around. You see, I don't have the same relationship that I have with people that have been around me, because I haven't got to see them physically. For you guys, what about you all? Like, have you been able to notice that your friends and your relationships are falling off, almost like they're falling off the face of the earth? Like, I know that you know they're there and that you can FaceTime them and you can call them and that you can text them, but it's not the same. And they aren't there. And because of this pandemic and because of all of these things that have taken place, it's made a core of group that we hang out with, and it's been really hard to be physically with people. You see, I've been also, on the other hand, during this pandemic, been able to be in a room with a small group or maybe other staff members, maybe even family members, and felt like I wasn't even there because I couldn't hug them. We were distanced out. We weren't able to see each other's smiles. We were kind of affected, or we were all like not personal in those moments. You see, for us today, I want us to take a look at one very important relationship in our life that I think we're struggling with. And that's our friendships. And I want to be able to give us some tough love for us to focus on our friendships. You see, John 15:13 says this: great friends or greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. Let me say this again. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. See, great friends are hard to find. And friends who love and care for you and that are just so passionate for what you do are the people that you want to keep around. So for us, we want to have this conversation around love and friendship. You see, this is called God for us to bettering ourselves and friends around us. You see, John 13 is this perfect commandment for us to see that relationship with our friends and everyone around us. It says this: a new command I give to you, love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. We are called and pushed to love each other. It's easy, and I know that that's easy for me to say and easy for me to point at. But you see that God wants us to push towards people. He wants us in community. You see, think about it this way. God himself is in community. God is in what's called the Trinity, which has the Holy Spirit, Jesus, and God himself. Those three things live in community. And I believe if God himself is in community, then we should as well. Jesus, the Son of God, comes down and he doesn't live in isolation. He doesn't live by himself, but instead he lives with 12 other disciples, growing in community and doing life together. You see, we are meant to be with other people. And I don't care if you're an introvert or an extrovert, this is true for you. And I would ask, like, hey, if you're an introvert, like, give a like right now, raise your hand. But the truth is, introverts don't do that kind of thing. You see, our DNA of who we are is made to be around people. which is why I'm sure that's something you've heard about, right? You've heard, oh, we were made to be with people. But think about it this way. You were made to be with people and show them God's love. And when that happens, our best relationships take place. You see, it's not just being around people. It's not just about being physically in a room around a round table with people, though that helps. What it's about is showing other people God's love, just like the verse in John was talking about. But it's hard. Like, it's truthfully really, really hard. Showing people God's love is not an easy task. And oftentimes, I don't receive that love from other people. And in that, I feel alone. I feel isolated. I feel like I'm off on an island, but there's nobody coming. For me, I think that this really plays out well before the pandemic, before I got to Christ Church. About a year ago, I was working 2 jobs, and one of those jobs was at a college where I lived in a dorm with 300 other guys. Now, we weren't all like in this massive room together. We all had our own rooms and all of that stuff. But I was living in a dorm with a lot of other people, but I was also working at a church with several hundred students in the youth group. But in that moment, I've never felt more alone. You see, I was having interactions with people, but because of my 2 jobs and because I was busy all the time, I wasn't showing anyone else that love. I was showing them that I'm in and out. I was showing them that I'm busy all the time. I was showing them that I was not going to be there for them when they needed me. That was a huge lesson for me to learn. But it was super hard. You see, people started taking notice of my presence, or lack of presence. And because of that, I started to lose friends. I started to lose people that I cared very deeply about. And I wasn't investing in the people that mattered. And honestly, it was awful. It sucked. And when I got to a place of being alone, that's when the attacks started coming. I started not doing well with my physical and mental health. I started being in a place where I didn't think that I was worth it, or I was capable of doing my job. And when we're not effective and when we're alone, we're not made to attack ourselves. We're not made to push people away. We were made for each other. We were made for us to unify together, for us to be in community. And I realized that very quickly. You see, if you look around us in this world over the last year, you wonder why anxiety and depression have skyrocketed out the wazoo. You know, why is it? It's because of this self-isolation. So how do we fix it? How do we change the narrative? How do we show people God's love? Well, it's kind of simple. Flip the words. Like, we show people God's love. We love people like Jesus. You see, Jesus showed us love by giving us life. And if we are to love like Jesus, then we need to be ready and brave enough to love sacrificially, to show others love in a time of isolation. And honestly, that will truthfully change the world. But, truthfully, I want to take a second. I want to brag on you guys. Not only of the students at Christ Church, but also your generation. You know, I'm in the 9th and 10th grade guys Discord. It's a group message that we all have. And for us, we're on there all the time. I see guys in that group sending prayer requests of different things that are going on in their life. And I see guy after guy say, yeah, I got you. I'll cover you in prayer. Yeah, hey, how's this going? What's an update on this? And I think that that community is built for encouragement and prayer. I see you guys encourage each other on social media in the comments. I see your generation step up in a ton of different ways. Through this, you've been able to find creative ways to connect with family and friends. For some of you guys, you've actually had to show your family more love and more bravery because maybe one of your parents lost their job. You see, for all of us, this generation will go down in the history books as the COVID generation. There will be a whole section taken out of these history books that will be talking about this pandemic and the chaos that it brought. However, I think I'm built in seeing that this generation has the potential and is actively showing love towards other people. And for this group, I think it's obvious that Jesus is working in your life, that you choose to be a part of this community each and every week, whether that's tuning in online or visiting us in person. So when it comes to friendships, how do you want to be known? How do you want to be remembered? How do you want people to see you as? Would you rather have a deep relationship with someone showing love and showing them that Jesus is love, or not? Ask yourself, who is hungry? Who's lonely? Who's struggling with depression? Who doesn't have a relationship with Jesus? And reach out to those people that are friends in your life that are struggling and show them Jesus' love. You see, that's the challenge for the week. And the truth is, you could be that student. You could be the person that is struggling right now. You could be the person that's going through a lonely time. And I really want to push you right now and really say to you, reach out to somebody. If you're the one that's struggling and you're the one that needs God's love, I just ask you to reach out to somebody. Whether that's a friend that you know from church, whether that's us in our comments or sending us an email, or even on our Instagram DMs or Facebook Messenger, let somebody know that you're struggling. You might feel like you don't want to. You might feel like you're not motivated to, but do. I know it's tough and I know you don't feel like it, but when you ask for help from our friends, it's worth it. See, I want you guys to know, as you go throughout this week, make sure to be Jesus to somebody, and especially your friends.